Remember back in the early 90s when big cities on the Midwest and East Coast seemed like they were on the brink of decline, while the cities on the Pacific Coast were painting a completely different picture. Stretching from San Diego all the way to Seattle, these cities were booming, drawing people from all over the country and even the world. And guess what? They weren't just becoming population hubs. The West Coast emerged as America's top hub for trade, entertainment, tech, and even became the home base for 5 out of the 6 most valuable companies in the world. These same cities are now facing a steep slide. For the first time ever, powerhouses like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Oakland are actually starting to shrink. High prices, skyrocketing property crimes, and a concerning wave of homelessness are shaking things up. San Francisco's homelessness rate, for example, is a whopping 12 times the national average. Economic opportunities, especially for the middle and working classes, are dwindling. And check this out. Giant companies like Tesla, Oracle, and Hewlett Packard have already packed their bags, shifting their headquarters and operations to places like Texas and Nevada, where the business climate is just friendlier and costs are lower. Countless other companies, even those paying solid wages, are also heading east and south. A monumental shift is underway, and the question is, what happens next? But before we move forward, click that like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. This channel will keep you updated on the most intriguing videos on economic topics around the world. So what's going on with the cities like LA and San Francisco, once glittering with promise and now seemingly losing their shine? We can't point fingers at failing industries this time. Tech, space, and entertainment are still booming. The culprit? A cocktail of progressive policies that, while well-intentioned, have arguably let crime rise, given free rein to homelessness, and piled pressure on the surviving middle class. The impact of these policies is highly evident in San Francisco. Despite its riches, the city has found itself in a tight spot with more drug addicts than high school students. A recent survey even slapped it with a last-place rank in the US for efficiency. Then we've got Los Angeles, a city where parts like Skid Row have been likened to Syrian refugee camps by a UN official. Just like LA, other cities like Portland and Seattle are also grappling with skyrocketing homelessness rates. Now, while San Francisco's woes may steal the spotlight, let's not ignore Los Angeles, where the political shifts are nothing short of dramatic. Flashback to the 1970s, LA, referred to as the capitalist dynamo, was a bustling hub of not just entertainment, but also fashion production, trade, and so many smaller niche businesses. Often kick-started by enthusiastic immigrants and folks fleeing from east of the Sierra. This bursting economy wasn't just under conservative leaders like Sammy Yorty. Tom Bradley, LA's first African-American mayor and former cop, also championed growth by enhancing ports, investing in infrastructure, and strengthening its vast industrial sector. LA was pegged as the city of the future, and oh boy, did it have reasons to boast. Fast forward to today, and it's almost like we're talking about a different city. The LA we see now is not just trailing in job growth, but is also losing its hold on key industries that once powered its rise. From 1 million industrial jobs in 1990, we're down to just 300,000. Plus, mega companies like Northrop Grumman and Hilton Hotels have said their goodbyes. In the streets of LA, the capitalist dynamo is still buzzing, especially in Asian and Latino neighborhoods. But Michael Kelly, executive director of the Los Angeles Coalition for the Economy and Jobs, admits the jobs cropping up are mostly small scale, lower paid, and service orientated. The dwindling industrial sector has hit the African American and Latino communities hard, removing a once stable source of employment. After the turmoil of the 1992 riots, Richard Riordan, Bradley's successor, managed to restore some order and racial harmony, playing the role of the pro-police businessman who rekindled the dwindling confidence of the business community. However, as politics shifted post-Riordan, with progressives taking the reins and getting kudos from Hollywood and a leaning left LA Times, the city encountered new challenges. And this year, a surge in crime has even prompted rapper 50 Cent to declare LA is finished after the city eased bail requirements for certain arrests. Shifting our gaze to the 1920s, even when Los Angeles was blossoming as the West Coast's crown jewel, San Francisco remained unfazed, exuding a confident aura. It had been dubbed the Narcissus of the West, and with its big banks and powerhouse companies, it was seen as a real city, starkly contrasting the sprawling, auto-friendly Los Angeles. San Francisco saw itself as a kind of Pacific Manhattan, with a stunning location, fabulous weather, and a robust legacy economy. But the real bloom came in the scenic regions south of San Francisco, in Silicon Valley. At a glance, its vast, sprawling suburbs, home to defense and space firms, might remind you of LA. But this spot? It's the beating heart of the global tech industry, and a home where the ultra-rich casually rub shoulders. As tech pivoted from hardware to software and social media, the business pulse began throbbing back in the city, with techies commuting from those hip, urban spots. But on the other hand, even as tech bloomed, good working-class jobs wilted and property prices skyrocketed, shaking the societal stability to its core. Homelessness ballooned into a staggering issue. And although San Francisco had plans to wipe out homelessness, that turned out to be more difficult than expected, charting a path of unmet expectations and profound challenges. Other policies were also more lenient, especially on drug use and minor theft, spiraling the city into one of the highest property crime rates in the nation. Residents found themselves amidst a turbulent storm of theft, public defecation, open drug use, and sporadic assaults. Even as this sad saga unfolds, tech's golden goose is flapping its wings towards new horizons, with nearly half of Silicon Valley's jobs now remote-friendly, according to a University of Chicago study. The tech tide is shifting south. In the city, dirt, homelessness, and about 2 million discarded hypodermic needles are seriously shaking up the city's tourism and hospitality game, which, by the way, is its major cash cow. Even Los Angeles seems to somehow be caught up in a tricky trap of urban illusion. LA ranks shockingly low in new housing construction, yet continues to greenlight massive building projects in Hollywood and downtown. These areas are unfortunately known more for their significant homeless populations and the eerily quiet ambience of deserted office towers than for its glitzy attractions. And to add to this, their $20 billion transit system, once hailed, is now hefting burdens of crime and homelessness, with fewer folks hopping aboard than the bus-only system of 1985. The numbers don't lie. LA witnessed a staggering exodus of 750,000 under-25 residents in the last 2 decades. Even the immigrant population took a detour, with folks now setting their sights on vibrant cities in Texas and Florida. Current stats show LA's population is even less than in 2010, and it's predicted to dip by another 1.7 million by 2060. The once booming economy is still able to keep some of its prominence, but the region as a whole is losing its appeal. Even in Silicon Valley, things aren't glittering as they once were, as the tech hub holds a staggering 17% vacancy rate and construction dreams in downtown like San Jose, like Google's mega campus, have been put on hold. Some tech giants are looking elsewhere, eyeing projects far from the city lights, 60 miles away in Solano County to be exact. But with the local NIMBYs and a sturdy green lobby, the path's not exactly clear. Today, the Bay Area has morphed from a progressive utopia into a cautionary tale of excess. Condo markets are trembling, local businesses are waving goodbye, and even the stoutest pillars of retail are packing up. The magnetic pull of this once majestic place is flickering, reminding us that no matter how shiny the assets, if they're mishandled, they can utterly dim. While the California cities began their descent, Seattle and Portland were on the up and up, with giants like Microsoft and Amazon leading the way. For a while, they were the go-to spot, especially for Californians looking for a fresh start. But fast forward to now, things are looking rocky. Massive layoffs, budget issues, and believe it or not, higher taxes on businesses. Plus, homelessness and safety concerns are on the rise. Remember those George Floyd riots? A part of Seattle even went self-governing, and not in a good way. With crime going up, many locals are thinking of packing their bags. In the early 2000s, Seattle was the place to be, pulling in a whopping 187,000 new faces, but recently, not so much. Now people are opting for smaller hubs like Spokane and Olympia instead. And Portland, where it added 252,000 people between 2000 and 2020, has taken a turn for the worse. Once hailed as the cool, leisurely spot where young people go to retire, has found itself tangled in continuous, sometimes violent protests throughout 2020. Despite its progressive planning and social vibe, it's now seeing folks pack up and leave, with the urban heart, Multnomah County, losing 13,000 of its residents. Once celebrated as an anarchic wonderland filled with food trucks and lively streets, it's now grappling with some tough times. In just 3 years, homelessness has leapt from 4,000 to a staggering 6,600. The echo of gunshots has become a common sound, with shootings tripling and a steep climb into homicides from 36 in 2019 to a whopping 97 last year. Lower-level crimes have spiked too. Over 11,000 cars were stolen in 2022, up from 6,500 in 2019. Per Portland's local news, every 42 minutes there is a report of vandalism, frequently entailing damaged windows. There were more reports of damaged windows in 2021 than in the course of the 2020 public disturbance year. It's not all doom and gloom for the Pacific cities. With their breathtaking mountains, stunning water views, mild climates, and robust educational foundations from universities like UCLA and Berkeley, there's still hope for a rebound. Let's dive into the political challenges shaking the Western cities today. While a GOP comeback might be off the table, there's a noticeable nudge against the progressive agenda. San Francisco and Seattle have shifted gears, replacing some of their radical board members and DAs. Interestingly, minority communities are stirring the pot too, with some Asian and Latino voters leaning right, and Oakland's NAACP pointing a finger at lax policing for increased violence. But how are the people feeling? A 2022 poll reveals a startling mood. About a third might pack up and leave San Francisco within 3 years. 2/3 believe life has dipped in quality since their arrival, and only 25% are optimistic about the future. With all that said, last year LA chose Karen Bass as mayor, opting for a stalwart of the Democratic machine over businessman Rick Caruso. With the middle-class population dwindling, radicals are snagging more city council seats, shaping the city's future. And it's not just LA. Oakland's new mayor, Sheng Thao, is a staunch advocate to defund the police, even as the city grapples with surging crime and developers back off. MSNBC puts it bluntly, the progressive takeover of America's big cities is nearly complete, and this might just be spot on. Progressive radicals are carving out strongholds in not only LA, but also San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle, bringing bold policies to the table like LA's proposed $30 an hour minimum wage for certain workers, and Seattle contemplating its own capital gains tax. I hope this video gave you a comprehensive understanding of the current situation on the West Coast. Let me know in the comments of your thoughts and opinions. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth content.